Hello, fellow heroes! Ghost of Yotei, Sony, PlayStation finally released their trailer on Twitter X. Why is this a big deal? Well, other platforms had already gotten the trailer, other social media sites have already gotten the trailer, and the trailer's been getting hit with some backlash. A lot of this backlash has to do with the fact that one of the lead developers really spoke ill of Charlie Kirk, and a lot of people saw this as endorsing violence. I also made kind of like a short about this and saying how we should keep people accountable for the things that they say, because endorsing violence is no bueno, no good. But with the trailer being released after the developer said something, it's been hit with some dislikes, a lot of dislikes, and a lot of people heading to the comment section to go and really just say the opposite of what the developer is saying. Rip Charlie Kirk, canceling my pre-order, rip Charlie Kirk. And I had to go see this for myself. I had to go look at and I looked at some of the 3 most recent videos. This one was 2 days ago, and it's been getting worse because they essentially did fire the developer, but was it enough? Apparently now people want them to the company to apologize, make a statement about it, say something. And really, with these purity tests, it on either side, a lot of times it just feels like there's no end to it. There's no sating the hunger. But when you come over here, I'm here just to look at the comics to see it's more interesting than the trailer itself. Sucker Punch new marketing strategy alienates 50% of the audience before the game even launches. Sucker Punch Studios making the game about preserving a culture from invasion ideologies while letting their own be consumed by one. The lack of self-awareness is breathtaking. A samurai with no honor is no samurai. We go over here. You have no honor. A samurai with no honor is not a samurai. And this was like 2 hours ago. A terrorist with no honor is not a samurai. Stop censoring comments, Sony. And then we even going to the third video that was posted 1 day ago. So we had 2 days ago, 2 hours, now 1 day ago. Don't give money to people who hate you. I'm just clicking on Ghost of Yotei trailers to read the comments. This one says 900 likes, 2,000 dislikes. I don't know if that's true. We saw this screen caption right over here that was saying 2,000 and 7,000. So I don't know what the like or dislike ratio actually looks like, but I think the comment sections say a lot of what's actually going on and how people are actually feeling about these things. The studio will finally learn the ancient samurai art of fucking around and finding out. And then we go into this right here where a lot of people are also digging up old photos or experiences whenever she called herself Antifa, and I'm referring to Erica Ishii. I'm so sorry if I said her name incorrectly. And you're going back to old tweets and old posts that she may have said and saying how she's with Antifa, and recently Trump has labeled Antifa as a terrorist organization. And I think a lot of people, I think going back, if this was a response she had to Trump, that would probably be a different case. But this was before then, especially in 2020 when I think it was popular and a lot of people wanted to join that movement. So I don't know. I see this as, again, a part of that whole purity test and like how far are you going to take it? How far are you gonna push it? I don't necessarily agree with going into people's past and then using it to go against what has happened in the present when times have changed.
Hey, I'm Mario. I like playing video games, watching movies, and Dungeons and Dragons. If you keep getting me in your suggested videos, or you're watching this video right here, consider subscribing. It goes a long way. Thank you.
Now, how does the left feel about this? How does the other side, the opposing side, that, more or less would be essentially supporting this game? Well, people on Blue Sky are upset that they fired the developer for their statements, and now they want to boycott Sucker Punch as well and Ghost of Yotei. So it's like damned if you do, damned if you don't situation going on for them right now. Time to boycott Ghost of Yotei and Sony until they reinstate the artists. Why are you capitulating to the far right? Now, mind you, a lot of these have like 3 likes. 3 likes. You know, they're all saying the same thing, but I'm not seeing a whole lot of people. This one has 200 likes. How pointless, firing a dev out of fear of losing potential sales from a bunch of smooth brain losers, caving to online pressure from dudes who aren't going to. Are you all doing alienating people who you want to play the game? Ghost of Yotei is being published by fascists. 2 likes. It's not like it's being driven by thousands and thousands of likes, but but it seems like the sentiment is there. And the reason for that, I think, like, it's not that big a deal, shows in the YouTube as well, as, like, you don't see a lot of comments in any of the YouTube videos saying, like, they're mad about the firing of the developer. And so this seems to be more of, like, a smaller subsect group. But even here in the comment sections, you got 4 likes, 45 likes, 76 likes. And, they're bashing it from all different sides. They're mad at Sucker Punch. And it comes down to, I saw this right here. I thought this was important. We need more games like Stellar Blade and fewer games like Ghost of Yotei. Now, what does this mean? I think Ghost of Yotei is one of many games that have been created for an audience who don't actually buy the product that's being made for them. And I totally agree that we need more Stellar Blades. And what do I mean by, like, people who are not buying the product? I think there are a lot of women out there who think it is super cool, super interesting, super badass that there is a female character, replacing or taking over for the Ghost of Tsushima kind of series, and now it's a female samurai, and we get to experience that, and she gets to be a badass. However, I think the primary audience of people who are going to buy this game are going to be guys, are going to be males, and guys are going to want to have a Stellar Blade. They're going to want to have an experience that is catered towards them, and guys and women want different things. As much as recently we've been told that's not true, it is. There's different preferences, and there are games made for those preferences. Hence why the joke of, like, a girl getting, my wife's an example of this, getting a high-end gaming PC that's actually better than my streaming PC, and still going and playing Stardew Valley on it, or going and playing, she plays Civilization and other things like that as well. But that's kind of the joke. That's the stereotype, and it's there because, it's somewhat true. Also, at the same thing is, like, aesthetically pleasing, guys are gonna lean more towards the girl with boobs than they are gonna the other way around. I'm not saying guys aren't gonna play a game that doesn't have boobs on it and it's not gonna be a good time, but where I am also just saying that there is a shift. We are making games for people who won't actually play the games to begin with. And even though, yes, there are people on Blue Sky upset about this, I'm not particularly sure a lot of these people, and this is just a theory, this is Mario's tinfoil hat, I'm not convinced that a lot of these people were invested in the game to begin with. Now, where does that leave the people who were excited for the game? Where does that leave the people who still wanted to play the game and they're seeing all this? You know what? I say this is a separate issue. I feel like this is a lot like how Hogwarts Legacy was when people were boycotting Hogwarts Legacy. And back then I was a bit conflicted whether I should play Hogwarts Legacy or not, because I was like, oh man, there's so much discourse going around this. Would I be doing something that is really morally ill? No. This is a separate issue. There are plenty of developers, there are plenty of people that worked on this game that probably had different ideas and have a different vision for this game. I'm not saying this game is free of critique. If this game comes out and it is garbage, then we should judge it on the merits of that. I think both things can be true. I think people who develop this game can have an ideology that is wrong and shouldn't be pursued, like endorsing violence. I also believe that they can make something that is separate from their ideology. And boycotting, if you buy this game and you like this game and you enjoy this game, this does not mean you're someone who endorses violence. But at the same time, if this is also kind of preluding and setting up an excuse for this game. See, if this game does bad, and this game isn't as good as the first game, people are just going to say, oh, well, it's because the developer got fired and everyone on the right side canceled them and they refused to buy it. That's why the game did bad. That's why the sales are bad. No matter what anyone says, that's going to be the red herring logic fallacy that's going to be said about this game. I'm going to purchase this game to review it. I've stated many times on my streams, on other shorts that I've made, I'm not that excited about this game. A lot of people kept on asking me, I'm not. There's not much. I'm not excited for this game as I was for Ghost of Tsushima, and I felt this way ever since really its launch. It's been kind of, it hasn't, or its announcement. Sorry, it hasn't been something that I felt like I wanted to experience, especially after Assassin's Creed Shadows came out. I was like, man, I don't know if I want to go through something like that again. But I'm going to play it to critique it and to let you guys know, based on the merits of the game itself, if it's worthy to be praised on its own merits. And I think if someone does buy this game and they do enjoy it, that's good. Good for them for enjoying it. But this is another Hogwarts Legacy just kind of flipped on the other side. I still think endorsing violence is no good, and that firing that developer was the right course of action to go. But I'm not going to push the purity test any further and demand Sony make an apology and things like that. I genuinely don't think if Sony made an apology that they would actually care. I don't. I think they would do it just to calm the crowd down, just to calm the masses and be like, look, we're doing what you want. You see, you happy? So like, you know, anytime I see an apology, I base action more than I base words. And they may say one thing, but then continue to do another thing that we dislike. Anyways, are you still going to get Ghost of Tsushima or Ghost of Yotei, or are you boycotting it? Until next time, guys, play nice.